Bent Knee is a rock band you should be bending your knee to right now. That is the worst joke I've ever said. Please unsubscribe. In 2014 they dropped Shiny Eyed Babies, which I was considering doing an Undiscovered Gems video on at some point. Maybe I will, like a few weeks down the line, or maybe I won't, we'll see. I'm not sure yet. It's just such a fantastic, epic rock album that deserves way more attention than it got. I only recently kind of discovered how good it was, so I was technically kind of ignoring it for a long time too, so I do see why so many other people haven't quite caught onto it as well. So discovering how good that album is, I was really happy to know that they were dropping this album very soon after I'd realised how good that album was. And You Know What They Mean has not let me down whatsoever. This is a fantastic album and easily one of my favourite rock albums of the year, period. Potentially my current favourite rock album of the year. We shall see how things go. Aside from the little snippet of talking at the beginning, this album starts off in the most epic way possible with the first song, which is the second track on the album. Just typical for Bent Knee to go all guns blazing with a track like this. It's as over the top and theatrical as you could ever ask for from this band, which is probably something I should address early on, because I think that could be something that puts people off completely, and that would be Courtney Swain's vocal performances. She's just got this passionate as hell delivery that I think it's amazing. I absolutely adore her vocals, but I also think some people might be put off by this. But the fact that they pair it up with the instrumentation that they do, it only really adds to the greatness of the entire band at large. I mean, there's so much talent that's been thrown in here. I think you'd be kind of doing yourself a disservice if you just completely threw them aside just because of the vocals, because maybe it would be something you'd get used to after a few listens. I mean, think of all the dramatic, over-the-top prog rock bands that have gotten so much love over the years. I just think you'd be a bit silly to be like, well, I don't like this, but I enjoy something like Meatloaf or something like that. But then again, there's so much diversity across the rock genre on this album that you could take away so much from many of the songs, such as Give Us the Gold. It's just got such a catchy as hell riff with the give us a gold, ba-da, give us a gold, ba-da. And then by the end it transitions into Hold Me In, and the transition is so odd, it catches you completely off guard because it's just got this incredibly danceable rhythm to it that kicks off the song. But that danceable groove kind of transitions into something a bit more weird and odd. The swirling chorus comes through, it gets incredibly psychedelic and all washed out. It's incredibly strange, but it's extremely interesting to listen to. But the transition into Egg Replacer is way more seamless and natural in comparison to the previous transition that we got. It's an incredibly ominous track right up until the chorus comes through, and it just bursts out of nowhere. The theatrics on this one are amped up completely, and I'm loving it. I'm just loving it by this point. I think the dramatics, the theatrics, they just add dynamics to the sound that you just aren't really getting with many other rock bands at the moment. Just the diversity and range of different sounds in one album, I just find to be incredibly impressive and just shows the versatility of the band. You're getting a track like Lovemenot, which is easily one of the best songs here, but for completely different reasons as to what I've said already, with the dirtiness of everything that's going on. It's just got such this dense quality to it, and Courtney's vocals are just completely swallowed up by the wall of sound. She's just wailing under all of this noise and abrasiveness, and she can barely be heard, which is kind of the reverse of what I've been saying on every track so far, because usually she's at the front and center of everything, but on this one it's kind of like the opposite, and the track itself, the music, takes control of everything, and she's just like falling and falling and falling underneath it all. Now, even with all the praises I'm throwing in here, because obviously I'm loving this album, as you can tell, there are a few things every now and then that just don't quite work. The track Garbage Shark doesn't really leave an impact on me. No matter how many times I've listened to this album, that one track just seems to just go by, and then I'm forgetting what it sounded like. The track Lovell as well, which isn't really long enough to really pay attention to, but it just does feel like nothingness, like it's just a pointless little spoken word thing. You can barely hear what's being said. Just probably could have done without it. And the track Birdsong strips things down completely to its bare minimum essentials of just being a straightforward piano ballad, I guess you could call it. It comes right after Love Me Not, and I just think maybe it was necessary to have that breather, because Love Me Not is one of the most crazy tracks on the album, but it does kind of feel a bit underwhelming to transition into that. Although there is one quality about that track that I do sort of admire, and that's by the end of the song, she layers her vocals in a way that kind of does sound a bit like a bird. It's kind of cool. Probably could have been tidied up in some kind of way to make it sound even more like it, but it's a cool, neat little trick that they'd used. But these are all in the second half of the album, and it's not like that's completely where the album falls apart or anything, because you do have Catch Light, which probably has one of the best choruses on the whole thing. It's just incredibly sticky and hooky. That's what I really like about this band. They can just make a really standard, straightforward, catchy rock song, and it completely feels natural in the track listing. They end things off calmly as well with the track It Happens, which has this drones-esque instrumental that would totally fit nicely into like Icy Seaweed or Feeling Kinda Free, one of those albums. And I love the drones a lot too, so of course I like what they're doing on this track here. So yeah, this is friggin' great. This is great. It's such a good album, man. Not quite as good as Shiny Eyed Babies, I wouldn't say, but so good anyway. It's sad really that even my review here probably won't give this band anywhere near the amount of attention that they really truly deserve. But hopefully it gives them at least a bit of exposure, because they really do deserve it. They well and truly deserve like a Daughters kind of boost, where they kind of just burst into becoming one of the biggest rock bands around. And it kind of happened in a really short period of time, and Bent Knee really do deserve that as well. So I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. Definitely check this out if you haven't already. Hopefully you like it. If you do, let me know. Thank you for watching my review. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Check out the album, please. It's on streaming services. Have a good day. Goodbye.